Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So can you see the PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So socio-religious reform movement. We are starting socio-religious reform movement, and we can see that what factors led to the rise of socio-religious reform movement. What factors? So you see that social religious reform movement started when people started to question the existing system. That means they wanted something new, renew. It's called renaissance. That means what? New birth, new
Rebirth of
understanding. Okay, rebirth of humanism. So those we can see that rebirth of humanism means welfare of mankind. In what all ways welfare is possible? Renaissance. Which can be possible in which all ways? So which can be happening in social. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
And which all ways it can be possible? Welfare is possible in how many ways? 4 ways: social, political, economic, religious. There's 4 quadrants if you put. One is social, one is political, one is economic, one is religious. So this overall sphere of welfare is possible in 4 directions, which encompasses the entire welfare of mankind. So, what are those things that we want welfare? If what made us to go for welfare? That means there are certain problems in that welfare. There are certain lacunas, gaps. What were there? So that means there were evils in our society. Are you getting me, Saurav?
Yes, sir.
So what were the evils? We saw social sphere, welfare you want, but social sphere, what were there? We had sati. What do you mean by sati?
So self-immolation of the widow on the pyre of the late husband.
That means it was evil. Is it evil or it is good?
Evil, sir.
So that means female infanticide. Is it evil or good?
Evil, sir.
Then you have child marriage, caste, or what you call discrimination,
Yes, sir.
untouchability, parda, covering of women. So all these were the major social evils which existed,
Yes, sir.
and today it is also existing in our society. Yes or no? Evil is
Yes,
existing
sir.
in society. So if you see that social evils existed in our society. So what were the political evils that was existing earlier? That means welfare was not there. People were not getting enough what you call opportunities. Food was not there. Proper health care was not there. There was nobody to take care. So there is no welfare. Then and major thing
Yes,
is
sir.
education. Education was not given to all. You have this Gurukulam system, which is highly discriminative. Gurukulam only catered only to
Yes,
the
sir.
upper caste Brahmins, upper
Yes,
caste
sir.
Brahmins, and also only the ruling class. Then what happened to others? Education was not given. And in the Manusmriti, code of Manusmriti, there is a what you called very derogatory as well as inhuman saying that if any person, if who is a non-Brahmin who hears or recites, who hears or recites the sloka or hears any education on God, his ears or his tongue burning molten what he called um,
Lead.
metal has to be put into their ears and tongues. So this was the
Molten lead, sir.
molten lead has to be put into their ears and tongue. So it was what? It was a discriminatory because education empowers, education renews, education brings transformation, education is progressive. So this was a social evil. And what was the religious evil that was there which plagued the society? Religious evil that plagued society was superstition, superstitious practices. Rao Kala, I will go only with it before 12:05. I will go. Oh, this direction, I will say Vastu, this direction. But certain Vastu is their scientific basis, but there are certain things which are meaningless. Only this there should be your puja room, this should be your entrance, or some Rahu and Ketu. All this superstition is there. Still, it is there today.
Yes, sir.
Social reformers want to break this, but yet it is still idol worship is there. You can see that early social reformers, you start from the social reformer Basavanna, the Lingayats. Okay, so they fought the idol worship, but unfortunately, what happened? Lingayat means opposing Linga worship. That means Shiva Sharanas. What do you mean by Bhaktas, Shiva Bhaktas? No God,
Yes,
no God lives in idol. So, they go with the against, but later part, Lingayats worship the Linga of Shiva. But there was earlier no idol only. Meaningless rituals, sacrifices, particularly they were cutting, killing cows or goats, sheep, and certain times they were giving sacrifices.
even buffalo, sir.
Huh? Human sacrifice.
Buffaloes are also, sir, cut.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Human sacrifice also was there.
Kond tribals, Gond or KHOND, Kond. These tribals, Gond tribals, they were also giving. So economic evil which is there, that people were very poor. They didn't have anything to eat, nor they have any means to buy, nor to progress. So all these evils plague the Indian society. So as a result of this, what is the solution? Social reformers started the reform movements. And reform movements also had its own origins. Particularly, you can see the impact of the British rule. And in India, it led to the socio-religious reform movements because policies of the British. The impact of the British rule that the early invaders who came like Greeks, the Iranians or the Persians or the Turks or the Afghans and Mongols, etc., they integrated into the Indian society or absorbed into the Indian society. Can you today pinpoint who is a Greek, who is a Iranian in blood, who is a Turkish in blood, who is a Mongolian blood in India? Can you go and check today?
No, sir.
Because they got amalgamated into the Indian society. Whereas when Britishers came, they did not become one among India. They were like water and oil. Can water and oil mix together?
No, sir.
Why?
Because oil is lighter, it will float on top of water.
Because they don't have same affinity. Can
Yes, sir. Yes.
can water, sea water, mix with river water?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why? Sea water is not salt, no. River water is no salt, no. But differently, no. Both
But
have
it will
water. It
dilute the
has
salt,
same
sir.
property. Only the salts, so salinity is different. But when we join river water and sea water, can you differentiate? Can you differentiate when both waters mix together?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So that was how the early invaders they mixed together. Now it is not possible to decipher. And when British came, Indian civilization was very much vibrant. Particularly when Aurangzeb was there, you can see India was the largest manufacturing hub. They had what? Largest manufacturing hub. They had proto-industrialization happening. Proto-industrialization happening in Bengal.
Yes, sir.
And 25% of world's GDP, world's largest population, and farmers had enough of produce to eat, they can sell. Traders have enough raw materials, they can produce. The artifacts made by these artisans, craftsmen were patronized, they were selling it and through what you call through trade, they were getting more and more profit. And India was looked by the world. And even the Russian Tsar also said the person who controls the economy of India will rule the world. Yes or no? It is true, no? British they
Yes, sir.
control the Indian economy and they made Indian economy to colonial economy and they rule the world. So religious reform started, and moreover, the early religious reform movements they wanted to give India a scientific outlook, a rational outlook. So with the tradition, Indians was decadent; they were not able to move ahead. So they required some boost or impetus. So the static, decadent superstitious Indianity required fresh air to come in to change them. So reform movements started with that spirit. So reform movements in India during that time, the society was divided. It had suffered many ill evils. You can see social evils. Indians were caught up in the religious superstitions and social obscurantism. Obscurantism means what? Obscure means what? Social obscurantism. What do you mean by social obscurantism? Obscure
Obscure
means
means
what?
something not
Hmm?
clear. Something not clear. That is not clear.
Which is not clear because they themselves innovated and they themselves are not sure of what it is. So they suffered many. What is the position of women? Women was in a very pathetic condition. They were only known for what? Cooking and producing babies. They didn't have any position, no right. They have to wear parda. And if girl child is born, you have female infanticide. Where is the women's emancipation? Where is the education to women? If you educate a woman, you educate a generation. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So where is education to whom? Who gave education? The patriarchal society, patriarchal society. Will they give education to women? Will they give equal status to women?
No, sir.
Then you are talking about 21st century. Imagine the India in 18, 19, 20 centuries. So middle class intelligentsia, they got some opportunity. The high caste Brahmins and those ruling class sent their sons and daughters. When they went, they had the reason and logic. And those educated middle class intelligentsia people who went abroad and got education, like Ram Mohan Roy, they became the basis for the reformers in India. So socio-religious reforms takes place in the background. That initially, when religious reform was started, Brahmo Samaj was only interested in doing what they wanted, only religious reform. Who wanted only religious reform? Brahmo Samaj. But later, after Brahmo Samaj, or Pratarna Samaj also wanted religious reform, but additionally they said we want social reform. And Aryan Samaj comes in the background of both socio and religious reform. Okay, so Brahma Samaj, when it was formed, it was only for what reform? What reform?
Religious.
Only for religious reform.
Religious reforms.
So Brahma Samaj. So Brahma Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And their agenda was what? He started for the religious reform. So he wanted the people to believe that they should be on three things. What was the criteria that socio-religious reform brought? Raja Ram Mohan Roy believed in the principle of casuality. So he believed in principle. Are you able to see what I'm writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Principle of principles of casuality. And Raja Ramon Roy, he wanted to link this principle of casuality to the whole universe and demonstrate the sole criteria of truth. And social reformers, when you start, you can see that many of the social reformers who followed the line, like Ashwini Kumar Dutt or Akshay Kumar Dutt, he was also in the Brahmo Samaj. He also wanted the understood that the social phenomena, natural phenomena, is purely a mechanical. So intellectuals today have replaced the faith with rationality. These middle class intelligence have got education. So first among the socio reformers, are you able to hear me? Or there's some break in my voice?
No, sir, it's fine.
Okay. So first one was Raja Ramon.
Some break is there, sir.
Now is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So first among the Raja Ramon Roy, he started Atmiya Sabha. And Atmiya Sabha, which Raja Ramon started, it's called the Friends of the Society of Friends. Atmiya Sabha means Society of Friends. Society of Friends, and he started in 1814 prior to Brahmo Samaj. So he also started Brahmo Samaj and Brahmo Sabha. He started Brahmo Sabha in 1828. Later, this Brahmo Sabha became Brahmo Samaj. And also Raja Roman Roy started Calcutta Unitarian Society. So what all Ram Mohan Roy started first? Atmiya Sabha, which is called as Friends of the Society, 1814, Brahmo Sama in 1828, Calcutta Unitarian Society. And he founded this Brahmo Sabha, which became Brahmo Samaj. As Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a polyglot, he was able to speak many languages like Sanskrit, Persian, Arabic, Greek, Hebrew, Latin, Bengali, Hindi, other languages. Nearly 12 languages he was very proficient. So he was a very well-read man and was a polyglot who can converse in different languages, read and write those languages. So he brought us literary work. So his literary work in Persian he wrote, it was Tufat ul Muhawuddin. That means gift of a mother. What do you mean by Tufat ul Muwahidin? Gift of a mother. And this was done in Persian language. Who wrote in Persian language? Tufat ul Muwahidin,
Raja Ram Mohan Roy.
Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And who gave the title Raja to Ram Mohan Roy?
Akbar the second.
Akbar the second or Akbar Shah the second gave the title for what? To go and plead on behalf of the emperor to get more pension with the British.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Tufat-ul-Muhawadin is a gift of a mother in Persian. He compiled a grammar book in Bengali. Not only that, Raja Rammohn Roy translated 4 Vedas and 5 Upanishads, and all these he translated into Bengali. Can you see his what you call how much he had exposed himself to the literary world? He was able to translate 4 Vedas and Upanishads. Then imagine his scholarly learning that he had. So he published many newspapers, particularly he's published Brahmanika. He published Brahmanika and Samvad Kaumudi. Samand Kaumudi. So these were the important papers that he published. And he started his struggle. So he was a Brahmin himself. He started the struggle that he fought against the social evils, ideal religious evils that was there, idol worship, and he was against it. So Raja Rammohn Roy is also an educationalist. So he condemned the general subjugation of women. He wanted a free press, and he wanted the spread of modern education among the women, that to Western education. So he proposed starting of Vedanta College, and this Vedanta College was opened by Raja Rammohn Roy to propagate the ideas of both Indian and Western studies. Apart from the socio-religious reform, he is a pioneer in PES. As you see that he had already published Brahmanika and Samvad Kaumudi, and the Samvad Kaumudi was a weekly Bengali newspaper. So later on, we can see Mirrat. Yes, ma? What happened? Any issue?
I think
Saurav?
no, sir. But he left the mic on.
So later, Rabindranath Tagore published in Persian language Mirrat ul Akbar. Rabindranath Tagore termed Raja Rammohn Roy as the father of Indian nationalism or Indian Renaissance. And the Rammohn Roy, he helped David Hare in his efforts to establish the David Hare. Professor David Hare, David Hare wanted to establish a college, so he established Hindu College, and this Hindu College was established in Kasi, and thus today it is elevated to the level of Benares Hindu University. Are you aware of it? Banaras Hindu University. In
Yes, sir.
1825, in 1825, he established Vedanta College. Vedanta College. Not only that, he was very much.
Sir, Banaras Hindu University was founded by, I think, Madan Mohan Malviya.
Pardon?
The Banaras Hindu University was originally founded by Madan Mohan Malviya. And name was different, but the original college was founded by Malviya.
Most of the colleges had, even you can see, even Annie Besant, she founded, and she thought Hindu to Hinduism, you see, in social reforms, and her college also was amalgamated into BHU.
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to hear me? Is there any problem?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So Raja Rammohn Roy, he supported the the efforts of Hindu College. Hindu College comes in 1817. Where is Hindu College?
Delhi.
Delhi.
In 1817. That was the contribution of David Hare with Raja Ramon Roy. And the Raja Ramon Roy also supported the revolutions that took place in Naples and Spanish. What happened to the Spanish America? In Spanish America, who was there in Spanish America? It is also called as Latin America. In Latin America, what happened? The Portuguese and Spanish colonizers were overthrown by the people. Okay, and Naples is symbolizes whom? Revolution of Naples means what? French Revolution. Naples is symbol of French. So French Revolution, who supported? Who supported French Revolution? Raja Rammohn Roy. So he also was in support of that. He was supportive of the cause of Irish independence. He condemned the way British is what you call suppressing the Irish aspirations or the oppression of Ireland. So you can see that the contribution of Raja Raman Roy as a father of Indian nationalism and Indian awakening, he wanted to purify Hinduism by starting Brahmo Samaj. And he was very much keen in propagating monotheism. That is why he said, a gift to monotheists. He wrote in 1809, gift to monotheists. Which year did he wrote? Monotheists, 1809. And he also wrote Precepts of Jesus. Precepts of Jesus in 1820, and also wrote Gift to Monotheists and the gift of mother in Persian language. He wrote Tufat ul Muhuddin. Later, in another newspaper, Persian Miratul Akbar, he also published many other writings on the monotheism. So, the twin pillars of monotheism is what? The twin pillars of monotheism is one, monotheism twin pillars of monotheism is one. First thing is that in monotheism you can see that first thing you can see reason. First thing we have to reason, and that reason people should be convinced. There should be reason. Second, he said the authority of Vedas and Upanishads. On 12 pillars, Vedas and Upanishads. So he started Friends of the Society, Atmiya Sabha, to propagate this Atmiya Sabha, to propagate this idea of monotheism. And he campaigned vehemently against the religious superstitious things which were there. First thing, the rigidness of caste, the caste system. Then you have the idolatry, you have polytheism. So meaningless rituals. Are all the social, what we call evils. So Raja Rammohn Roy is known as the father of Indian Renaissance, and he advocated that In India, Orient has good and the Occident, West has good. When Orient and Occident, East and West join together, both of this amalgamation, we can get the best. So he supported modernization, but he also said we should keep up a traditional philosophic system. And he is not against modernity, but that modernity should not touch the core of our existence, is our Indian traditional philosophic system. So Raja Raman Roy started Atmiya Sabha in 1814 to fight the social evils and to preach monotheism. And 1828, Brahmo Samaj was started to purify the Hinduism. And he was an ardent supporter of women's rights. Major role he played was in the abolition of sati when William Bentinck brought legislation banning the, the sati, evil practice of sati. And he made lot of efforts to establish the Vedanta College in Calcutta. He established and assisted the David Hare to form Hindu College in 1817 at Kasi in Varanasi. The political visionary, he was very highly active in response to the evils what inherited the society. He wants to fight that one. So he was a pragmatic and progressive leader who wanted to fight the social evils. So consider the following statements now. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he founded Atmiya Sabha and Brahmo Samaj. He put his faith in monotheism and was against idolatry. Raja Ram Mohan Roy wanted to establish a new religion. Which of the following statement is correct? Only one and two, one and three, and two and three.
So 1 and 2.
One and
Option
two.
B.
One and
Option
two.
D. How many of you say? So we'll test one by one question. He founded Atmiya Sabha, correct. He founded Brahmo Sabha, we became Brahmo Samaj, yes. So statement one is correct. He put in faith in monotheism, yes. He was against idolatry, yes. Raja Ram Mohan Roy wanted to establish new religion, no. He never wanted, he wanted to reform the religion. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That means statement is 3. So if 1 and 2 statements are correct, option is B.
Yes, sir.
So option is B. Raja Ram Mohan Roy believed in modern scientific approach, and he wanted this politics and principles, everything to be based on principle of dignity of human, equal social equality. And society must be on pluralistic principles, religious principles. So he started Atmiya Sabha, Friends of the Society. So Brahmo Samaj was started in August 1828. Later, Brahmo Sabha became Brahmo Samaj. And what was this? In Brahmo Samaj, the ideas and mission was first prayers, meditation, scriptural readings from Upanishads to be forms of worship. And he did not keep any graven image, statue, sculpture, carving, painting, picture, portrait, nothing was there. And were allowed in the Samaj building, thus underlining the Samaj opposition to idolatry and meaningless rituals. Ram Mohan Roy did not want to establish a new religion. He wanted only to reform or purify the Hinduism of evil practices which had crept into it. Okay. So Debendranath Tagore. So Debendranath Tagore was born in 1817. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
In 1817, Debendranath Tagore. From 1817 to 1905 is Debendranath Tagore. So he started Tattva Bodhini Sabha. Who started Tattva Bodhini Sabha?
Debendranath Tagore.
Debendranath Tagore, Tattva Bodhini Sabha. And later, he also started, he joined this, he did it 1839. In 1842, okay, he joined the Brahmo Samaj. In 1843, he took control in 1843 of Brahmo Samaj. And finally, he started this Tattva Bodhini Patrika. Tattva Bodhini Patrika. So this Tattva Bodhini Patrika, Debendranath Tagore had Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Akshay Kumar Dutt. They were among the pioneers of reform movements in India. So they had worked with this Tattva Bodhini Patrika. What was their agenda? Devendranath Tagore, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Akshay Kumar Dutt, they devoted all their energies to the systematic study of India's past, systematic study of India's past with scientific outlook. So India's past with scientific outlook. And you can see that Tattva Bodhini Patrika was also a reformist movement that happened, and they opposed to the Christian missionaries. Christian missionaries are posting lot of challenge to the Brahmo Samaj that they were not able to negotiate or not able to defend. But now Debendranath Tagore is able to set a narrative, oppose the Christian missionaries, the criticism of Hinduism, and the attempts to take people to their religion. So this revivalist Samaj, they also did the social reforms. First is that they supported widow remarriage, widow education, abolition of polygamy, and also they also fought for the improvements of riots and their temperance. What all did Brahma Samaj took place? They started widows remarriage, women education, abolition of polygamy, improvement of rights condition, and farmers. So 1839, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar joins, and Akshay Kumar Dutt. So you can see Raja Ramonsai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So who is Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar? He is one among the tallest reformers of the country. He started his movement in the support of widow remarriage. Who supported widow remarriage?
Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar.
Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar started the widow remarriage and reforms towards it. And he also, in 1815, became the principal of the Vedanta Sanskrit College. So he opposed that only education should not be the exclusive monopoly of Brahmins. So he said he opened this college for the education of the people who are non-Brahmins to study Sanskrit, and he opened it to the non-Brahmins. So when he opened he introduced Western thought in the Sanskrit only. So what was the agenda he had? Western thought in the Sanskrit college. So he was very much pro girls education. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar opened 35 girls schools. Not one, not two, 35 girls schools. So can you imagine 35 girls schools? Even one school today opening was difficult. 35 girls schools. All this is personal money, not even 1 rupee donation. That is why in Bengal is highly revered. His contributions is highly revered in Bengal region. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So he wanted to break the Brahminical monopoly. Who wanted to break the Brahminical monopoly?
Ishwachandra Vidyasagar.
Ishwarendra
Yeah.
Vidyasagar.
So, and what was the Brahminical monopoly that he's talking about? What did Brahmins had monopoly in what?
Right to education and
Yes, particularly the knowledge of scriptural knowledge, Vedas and Upanishads and all scriptural knowledge. He said the scriptural knowledge should be given to everybody. And Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was a crusader against child marriage and polygamy. Okay. So I think this is enough for Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. You have young Bengal movement. So Henry Vivian Derozio from 1809 to 1831. So he started Bengal movement in 1820s. So when he started Bengal movement in 1820s, he had taught in Hindu college from 1826 to 1831. So he taught for nearly 5 to 6 years in Hindu college. He also preached the ideas of liberty, fraternity, equality, which are the famous words that had echoed in the French Revolution. So Derozio was encouraging the pupils, you have to think on those ideas of French liberty, equality. So free thinking and also rationality. And he asked his pupils, his students to question all authority. He asked his pupil to question all. So what he advocated?
Question all authority.
Hmm? What he advocated?
to
Raja
ask
advocated what? Question.
monotheism.
Pardon?
Raja Ram Mohan Roy was propounding monotheism.
Yeah, monotheism and young Bengal movement, which Henry Vivian Derosio, he was inspired. He asked his pupils to think. First thing they asked is that think freely, don't be biased. Think freely. Second thing, Henry Vivian Derosio said, think rationally. Think rationally. Third, question all authority. Question all authority. Fourth, love liberty. He said, love equality. And love freedom. What was the what he called ideas propagated by young Bengal movement? Henry Derozio said, think freely, think rationally, question all authority, love liberty, love equality, love freedom. So he opposed what? Henry Vivian Derozio. He opposed the decadent customs. Henry Vivian Derozio opposed decadent customs. What do you mean by decadent customs?
That don't have any relevance now.
Yeah, so already it is dead. And moreover, he supported the traditions and supported women's rights. He supported women's rights. Who? Henry Vivian Derozio. And not only that, he also said we should give education to women, education of women. And the Young Bengal movement, he also advocated prior to the what he called, he was a professor, he taught in Hindu college. So he also demanded that induction, induction of Indians into higher grades, higher grades of civil services or higher grades of services. Who propagated that Indians should be inducted into the higher grades of services? Henry Vivian Socio. And not only that, he said, we have to protect our farmers. He was vehemently said, protect our farmers, protection of farmers, because farmers are the backbone of India. He said, protect them. And not only that, he said, we have to protect the farmers from the oppressive jamindars. Oppressive jamindars. And Young Bengal movement was modeled on the lines of young Italy movement by Mazzini, and he also called for better treatment of Indian laborers above. So why Indian laborers above? Because British took Indians as indentured laborers. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So in the indentured laborers, Indians was taken as what? Farm workers in harsh conditions and without food, and they became one among them, even in South Africa. Okay, so when they became, and Mauritius, where? Go ahead.
So Mauritius, South America, South Africa,
South Africa,
even
everywhere near
Southeast
Caribbean,
Asian
you get
countries,
Kitts and Nevis, Trinidad and Tobago, all the places Indians were taken as indentured laborers in British
Yes, sir.
colonies. And moreover, he also said the revision of your company's charter, revision revision of English East India Company's charter was a need because they were not really catering to the need of the people. They are exploiting, they are taking away goods at a cheaper rates, they're bringing finished goods and becoming a market. And he also said we need to give freedom to press. We should not meddle. Freedom of press was advocated by Henry Vivian Derosio. And finally, he said, if you are going to punish, there should be a trial process. And that trial process should be headed by eminent juries. Okay, so Young Bengal movement failed. Why did they fail? Why did Young Bengal movement fail, Saurav? Though they had very, very progressive thinking. Why? What happened?
So most of the supporters were college students from Hindu college only. So
Okay. The another
no,
reason that is there is because
Farmers.
it failed to have a long-term impact because that time when Young Bengal movement was there, he was already 30, 40 years ahead. That means time was not ripe. Time was not ripe for the people to adopt his ideas. Whose ideas? This
became the Rosio.
ideas were very radical in that point of time, radical ideas. Okay, so conditions were not ripe. And moreover, there was no support from any other social group of class he received. no social group gave any support. No social group or class gave Henry Vivian Derosio any support. Third, it lacked the real link with masses. It lacked real link with the masses. So instance, for instance, they failed to take up who they were when reviews even they were thinking were far ahead, but they did not. Why it lacked real link? Because they are not taking issues which is plaguing the society, the lower caste people, peasants, there are many causes. So peasants causes were not taken care. Okay, so this is enough for Henry Vivian Derosio. So Brahmo Samaj had followers and Keshav Chandra Sen. And Keshav Chandra Sen, have you done Keshav Chandra Sen? Have you done Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Keshav Chandra Sen, did we do? No. So Keshav Chandra Sen is he was born in 1830.
No, sir.
So Keshav Chandra Sen. So Keshav Chandra Sen was born in 1838 to 1884. 1838 to 1884. And he joined Brahmo Samaj. He joined Brahmo Samaj in the year 1858. And in 1858, he soon became its Acharya. He soon became its Acharya. And once he became its Acharya, he had to, had to get in challenge with Debendranath Tagore. Did we do Debendranath Tagore?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes,
Tattva
sir.
Bodhini Patrika. He said no.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
So
sir.
he came in
तत्वबोधिनी सभा और तत्वबोधिनी पत्रिका
Patrika. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So it was Sen versus Tagore. So this tug of war started because difference of opinion. So difference of opinion. So Keshav Chandra Sen was instrumental in taking forward this movement. Where they took forward this movement, they took forward to the branches outside Bengal. So he was very popular. And this tug of war between Sen and Tagore came in 1865. Sen was dismissed from the position of Acharya. When he was dismissed from the position of Acharya, he propounded Brahmo Samaj of India. He broke Brahmo Samaj and formed Brahmo Samaj of India. And Devendranath Tagore's branch became Adi Brahma Samaj. What it became? Adi Brahma Samaj. So since branch of Brahma Samaj became Brahmo Samaj of India after tug of war between Debendranath Tagore, and Debendranath Tagore dismisses his position of Acharya. So Sen forms Brahmo Samaj of India. So Keshav Chandra Sen was very popular in popularizing this Brahmo Samaj outside the region. But one big problem with Keshav Chandra Sen, he did not practice what he preached. What was the issue?
He got his daughter married to a elderly person for dowry.
So he was fighting against child marriage, whereas he himself had married his 13-year-old daughter to a very big royal family, the Kuch Bihar family, royal family. So when this was disgusted, and when disgusted, people left him. So it was irresponsible that Keshav Chandra Sen was the main person for the breakaway of the Brahmo Samaj into many factions inside the Brahmo Samaj. So when he did this, you can see the actions of Keshav Chandra Sen led to the rise of another faction of Brahmo Samaj called Sadharan Brahmo Samaj. What do you mean by Sadharan Brahmo Samaj? Ordinary Brahmo Samaj. Why they said ordinary Brahmo Samaj? Because Brahmo Samaj of India by Keshav Chandra Sen went away from its original ideals. Okay, so who founded Sadharan Brahmo Samaj? Sadharan Brahmo Samaj was founded by Anand Mohan Bose. Who founded Sadharan Brahmo Samaj? Anand Mohan Bose, Sib Chandra, Deb, and Umesh Chandra Dutta. So Sib Chandra Deb and Umesh Chandra Dutta. So you can see that when Brahmo Samaj became what? Brahmo Sabha became Brahmo Samaj, and when Debendranath Tagore joined, he took it to other position. When Keshav Chandra Sen he took it to other region, but his issues with Debendranath Tagore, he was dismissed from the position of Acharya. Later, he founded Brahmo Samaj of India, and Debendranath Tagore's Brahmo Samaj became Adi Brahmo Samaj. From this Brahmo Samaj of India, he made a mistake that he did not practice what he preached. He married his daughter to a Kuch Bihar Maharaja, and that disgusted many. They left. So from there, you'll find Anand Mohan Bose, Sib Chandra Ded, Umesh Chandra Dutta. They founded the Sadharan Brahma Samaj. What were the activities of Sadharan, significance of Sadharan Brahma Samaj? Sadharan Brahma Samaj, they reiterated the Brahmo doctrines. What they did, they reiterated. What do you mean by reiterated? Brahmo doctrines. Subhashri, what do you mean by reiterating the Brahmo doctrines? Reiterating what? He said the same thing, revived the same thing, spoke the same thing, foothold of the same thing, old thing. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Subhashri, okay, what were the Brahmo doctrines? What are Brahmo doctrines? Can anybody say what is the Brahmo doctrine? There is only one God, monotheism.
Only one monotheism.
One God
Monotheism, no idol
who
worship.
is supreme being.
Yes, sir.
And second doctrine is that no idol worship.
Yes, sir.
Third Brahmo doctrine was that no scripture or man is fallible. No
Scripture or God is
scripture
fallible.
or man is infallible. That means what? Is infallible means what?
They can be questioned.
No scripture is infallible. Infallible means which cannot be questioned. That means he puts no scripture means that scripture is fallible. It can be questioned. It means in logic. Yes or no?
Yes.
So no scripture is Infallible means no scripture is final, no final authority. It can be questioned. So Brahmo Samaj, it put its ideals in belief system. You need to believe. So you need to believe in the dictates of first is reason, second truth, third is morality. What are the dictates that the belief should be there? First, it should reason, truth should be there, and personal integrity, morality should be there. This was the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj. So Brahmo Samaj had denounced polytheism and idol worship and criticized caste system. So now you see, consider the following statements regarding Keshav Chandra Sen. He founded the Indian Reform Association. He and promoting cheap reading materials, he formed the Adi Brahmo Samaj due to the differences with Debendranath Tagore, and he married his minor daughter with the king of Indian Principality. Which all the statements?
One and three. See.
So he formed Adi Brahmo Samaj or Brahmo Samaj of India.
Brahmo Samaj of India.
So that means two statement is wrong. 1 and 3. Answer is what?
C.
So C is correct. So Keshav Chandra Sen, he formed Brahmo Samaj of India. When he split, Debendranath Tagore's faction became Adi Brahmo Samaj, and Keshav Chandra faction became Brahmo Samaj of India. And in this, there was an issue on Debendranath Tagore. Keshav accused Debendranath Tagore of Indianizing Brahminism, making it another Hindu sect. So young Brahmanas were already sulking under the authoritative attitude of Debendranath. They tried to challenge the authority by forming Pratinidhi Sabha, representative assembly inside Brahma Samaj in 1864. But Debendranath Tagore was not shaken by that. So you can see that Keshav Chandra's Sen's group, they wanted religious independence. Progress of Brahma Samaj demanded democratic and constitutional control over the Samaj affairs. Rabindranath Tagore did not yield for any things. So in 1866, you can see Brahma Samaj broke into pieces. So Adi Brahma Samaj was headed by Debendranath Tagore. Brahma Samaj of India was headed by Keshav Chandra Sen. So Keshav Chandra Sen, he wrote in this Brahmo Samaj of India, Bharat Bharasya Brahmo Samaj, while the old one became Adi Brahmo Samaj. Okay, so Keshav Chandra Sen founded the Indian Reform Association after his return from England. He had 5 objectives. One, what was that? Charity, temperance, improvement of women's social and material condition, mass education through mother tongue, access to cheap reading materials. These were the activities which was followed by Keshav Chandra Sen. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
And biggest mistake that Keshav Chandra Sen did was that he married his daughter to the Maharaja of Kuch Bihar in 1878 February, and this widened the hostility between the groups. Because of his utter dismay, rationalist Brahmos, they said, Keshav Chandra Sen, you have violated our teaching of going against child marriage. Then Keshav Chandra Sen, he counter narrative. He said, Brahmo Marriage Act of 1878 says that a daughter of so many years can be married off. But they say, and he quoted as this providential. So Act of 1878, Act of Marriageable Age. Who brought marriageable age? Under Lord Lytton, 1878. Lord Lytton, they brought marriageable age for 12 years. She's 13 years. So no issues. Government only has brought act. So he tried to justify. Because of his double standards, split was inevitable. The progressive group of this Brahmo Samaj of India, they formed Sadhar and Brahmo Samaj. So consider the following statements. Mainly due to the efforts of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Widow Remarriage Act of 1856 was passed. Carson Das Mulji founded Widow Remarriage Association. Vishnu Shastri Pandit, he started Satyartha Prakash in Gujaratri to advocate widow remarriage. What are these statements correct? Can you check with the efforts of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar Widow Remarriage Act of 1856 passed? Yes, first statement is true.
Yes, sir. It's correct.
So Carson Das Mulji founded Satyartha Prakash in Gujarati to advocate. So that means 2 is wrong. Vishnu Shastri Pandit started the Widow Remarriage Association. So they have twisted second statement and third statement. Vishnu Shastri Pandit, Widow Remarriage Association. Carson Das Mulji, Satyartha Prakash in Gujarati. So only one is correct. 2 and 3 statements are wrong. Only one is correct means answer is A. So the practice of murdering infants immediately at birth was common in the upper caste Bengalis and the Rajputs. So this was a very much what they called inhuman because they have to marry this girl with higher dowry. So it was the economic burden girls were. So the Bengal regulations of 1795 and 1804 declared that female infanticide is illegal equivalent to murder. So the Brahmo Samaj had the issue of widow remarriage in its agenda. It was mainly due to the efforts of Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, who was the principal of Sanskrit College, Calcutta, that Hindu Widows Remarriage Act of 1856 was passed. It legalized the marriage of widows and declared that issues or children born to such marriages are legitimate. So Jagannath Shankar Seth and Bahu Daji were among the people who were promoting the schools in Maharashtra. Vishnu Shastri Pandit, so he founded Widow Remarriage Association. And Carson Das Mulji, he started Satyartha Prakash in Gujarati to advocate widow remarriage. Similar efforts were made by Professor Dond Keshava Karve, D.V. Karve in Western India and by Veerasar Lingam Pantulu in Madras. So, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, Pratarna Samaj, prior to Pratarna Samaj, we will do what you call the Dond Keshava Karve. So, Dond Keshava Karve, so who's called as D.V. Karve. So, Dond Krishna Karve, Keshava Karve. So, one of the pioneer reformers in the Bombay presidency. So, along with him, you have Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade. So, both joined together, they were pioneer in the widow remarriage. Widow remarriage movement. And not only that, they also found Widows Home Association. So what were their works? Dond Keshava Karve, Professor and Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, they wanted education and training to widows. What did they want for widows? First thing, widows require education to empower themselves. Second, they need to have some kind of a skill to sustain their life, is that they should be given training to sustain their life. and also so that they can support by themselves without anybody's help. So Karve himself shown the example where Karve he married a widow. Who married a widow?
Karve.
Keshav Karve.
Don't Keshava Karve married a widow and he set an example for others. Have you done Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Huh?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we will go to next social reforms is the Pratarna Samaj. So Pratarna Samaj was founded by Dr. Atma Ram Panduranga. So Atma Ram Panduranga in 1867. So Pratarna Samaj started in the Bombay presidency. So they were more concerned, Pratarna Samaj, for social religious reforms than religion. So what was Pratarna Samaj concerned in more in religious reforms or social reforms?
social reforms.
So they were more concentrating on social reforms. So in order, what kind of, why social reforms? Because if this religion, that they had four types of what you call the so agenda that they said. First thing is that they were against caste orthodoxy, means they dismissed the or disapproval of caste system. Second, they were against polytheism, priestly, Brahminical domination of the society, and they also stand for the women's education. Who stood Pratama Samaj for education of women. Next, they also stood for the marriageable age for a couple, boys and girls. They said it should be raised for boys and girls, they said. And moreover, they also emphasized on monotheism. Who emphasized on monotheism? Pratarna Samaj. So who were the pioneers who joined this Pratarna Samaj movement? Pratarna Samaj movement had pioneers in Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, who joined it in 1870. Later, R.G. Bhandarkar joined. After Bhandarkar joined with G, you see N.G. Chandavarkar. N.G. Chandavarkar joined. And D.V. Karve, Domdo Keshava Karve, Domdo Keshava Karve, D.V. Karve also joined. Then Vishnu Shastri Pandita, Vishnu Shastri Pandit were the prominent what you call leaders of the Pratarna Samaj. Who are there? Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, N.G. Chandavarkar, Dond Kesav Karve, Vishnu Shastri Pandit. So these were the people who had personalities, who had their association with Pratarna Samaj. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Who is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa?
Guru of Vivekananda.
Huh?
The teacher of Swami Vivekananda.
Yes,
Religious teacher.
teacher of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, teacher of Swami Vivekananda. Who is teacher of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? His teacher.
That I don't know.
That is the blind Swamiji. Blind Swamiji. His name is Swami Vrijvananda or Vrijananda. And he in Mathura, and it was there he was given the scriptural knowledge. So you can see in the Narendranath Dutta emerged as his pupil called Swami Vivekananda.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to hear me? Is there any what you called
No disturbance, sir.
okay. So teachings of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa taught from 1834 to 1886. So Ranendranath Dutta was his most important pupil. So he started where he was Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a priest in a temple. Who was he? He was a priest in a temple, and that temple is called Kali Temple.
Yes, sir.
And this Kali Temple was in a place called Dakshineshwar Temple. Dakshineshwar, in an area called Dakshin Ishwar.
Yes, sir.
And this Dakshineshwar is in the Calcutta city. That is how Ramakrishna Paramahansa comes with Narendranath Dutta as his most famous, who's called Swami Vivek Ananda. Sorry, Vivekananda was his most important pupil. What were the two objectives of the movement he started? He started Paramahamsa Mandali. Prior to that, he had what? He's brought to a band of monks who will be dedicated, who will do renunciation and practical spirituality. So, among whom teachers, workers will be sent so that all throughout the world they will spread the work and message of Vedanta. So, who he got this Vedanta training from the Swami Vijwayananda, the blind Mathura, and he practiced and he also taught to his pupils, and he wanted this to take it to all over world. So Swami Vivekananda very effectively took this Vedanta all over the world. At the same time, he also asked the monks whom he had trained that they should be carry on the preaching. They should not stop preaching. They should carry on preaching, and moreover they should do philanthropic works, means social work they have to do, philanthropic works and charitable works they have to do in their life, and they should look all women, children, men, irrespective of any caste, creed, color, and they should be looked as manifestations of God. What they should be looked as? Manifestations of divine or God. And the mission offers the Ramakrishna mission, which Ramakrishna Paramahansa founded. His mission was to help people in natural calamities like epidemics, there were famines, there were floods, earthquakes, and mission has to be developed all over India and world. And it is a deeply spiritual religious body, but it should not do for any converting any religion. They should not convert a Hindu to Christianity or Christian to Hindu or Muslim to Hindu or Parsi to Hindu. Their work is to do that with work of relief with what? It should not consider itself to be a sect of Hinduism. They are not there for Garv Vapsi movement. Okay. So Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa started Paramahamsa Mandali, and it was a religious reforms body. Okay. So Ramakrishna Mission. So Ramakrishna Mission was started by Narendranath Dutta. So Narendranath Dutta was born in 1862. Swami Vivekananda was born in which year? 1862. And he died in which year? 1902. Are you getting? Subhasri?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear.
Okay. Which year was Swami Vivekananda born?
1862.
And died in 1902. So Swami Vivekananda, he emerged as a preacher of Neo-Hinduism. Who? Swami Vivekananda.
Swami Vivekananda.
So Swami Vivekananda became the preacher of neo-liberalism. Not only that, Swami Vivekananda preached, he preached from first from Upanishads. Upanishads. He preached from Gita, Bhagavad Gita. He preached from Bible. Fourth, Swami Vivekananda, he also spoke from the experiences from the Buddhist scriptures about Buddha. And fifth, he spoke about the life experiences of Paramahamsa. Who's Paramahamsa?
His teacher,
What is his name?
Ramakrishna Paramahansa.
Ramakrishna Paramahansa.
Swami Ramakrishna. Swami Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna Swami's Paramahamsa's life, he wanted to share and take it. And what he wanted to do? He wanted to share to the people of the world. What all he preached from? Swami Vivekananda, he preached from Rahul, he preached from which all?
Gita, Bible, teachings of Buddha.
Upanishad,
Upanishad,
Bible.
Gita, Bible, he spoke about life of Buddha from the life experience of Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, his guru. And he gave lecture, who? Swami Vivekananda gave lecture in the World Parliament of Religions. Where did he give lecture? World Parliament of Religions. And this was held in the city of Chicago in USA in the year 1893. Later, he took his teachings of Vedanta to London and other European countries. And he also served lectures in different regions. And what was the mission, Ramakrishna mission? The mission was that first thing that he took in life prior to Ramakrishna mission founding as a Swami, as a monk, he wanted to bridge the gulf between Paramata. Paramata means what? Paramata. Huh?
Supreme Soul.
What?
The Supreme Soul.
Like doing something for others.
Paramata means you are doing service to others. Service. Paramata. He want to bridge the gap between service to others and your own life. Vyavahara. Vyavahara means what?
Behavior.
Vyavahara means behavior. And this paramata and behavior and between spirituality, and day-to-day life. Who wanted to bridge the gulf between spirituality and day-to-day life? Swami Vivekananda. He said, what he wants to do? He wants to bridge the gap between service and behavior, Paramatha and Vyavahara, or spirituality
Yes,
and day-to-day life. Because even today, this is also question not today, spirituality in day-to-day life. Are we not encountering? Are we not encountering?
yes, sir.
Subhasri, are we not
We are encountering.
Rahul, are we not questioning? Where is God? What is
Sir,
my mission? Where is God? Are we not questioning the spiritual dryness in you?
Yes, sir.
sir.
Lot of
Always, sir.
visits.
Always. So, Swami
Yes, sir.
Vivekananda's teachings, he wanted that because not today, we have this issue thousands of years. So only a supreme noble being can help us to lead that way, to understand what is spirituality, what is day-to-day life, because we are caught between what? Paramatha, whether we should say it, Paramatha to do service to Seva to others. Paramatha is Seva. Vyavahara is our own behavior. Yes or no?
Sir,
Vyavahara.
sir, now you are audible, sir. Now you were not audible for some
Okay,
time.
so we are in a day-to-day life, we are also caught between whether we have to do service, seva, and also what is our own behavior. Yes or no? So
Yes,
Swami Vivekananda want to do that. So Swami Vivekananda, he also advocated the spirit of liberty. Who advocated spirits of liberty?
Swami Vivekananda.
Advocated the spirit of liberty. So spirit of liberty was advocated by Swami Vivekananda. Okay. And he also said, he also advocated equality, and free thinking. So Swami Vivekananda, he gave a what he called the advocated the doctrine. He also advocated the doctrine of service, and this doctrine of service is the service of all beings. It is the service of all beings. All beings means what? He gave service of all
Sir.
beings. So he also said that the service of Jiva, the service of Jiva is the worship of Shiva. Who said the service of Jiva is service of Shiva?
Swami Vivekananda.
What do you mean by service of Jiva and what is worship of Shiva? Jiva means living being.
Yes, sir.
Service to mankind is service to God, worship to God. Who said? Service to Mother Teresa also preach the same thing. You do what? Service to your neighbor. You should love, you should accept. You do service to your what you call your neighbor. Jiva, your service is worshipping God. You find God in small things. So there was a question in Bible, where is God? Where is kingdom of God? In the Bible it gives answer. Where is Deva Rajya? Deva means what?
God.
Where is Deva Rajya? Where is kingdom of God? Where it is? Question, nobody can answer. Bible answer says that it is within your heart, within you. within your heart. Yes or no? So this is the spiritual thing that it is given. So Swami Vivekananda, he said, service to Jiva is worship of God, worship of Shiva. Okay. So Ramakrishna Mission, what he founded was very important because the main objective was to reach out to the poor. So this Swami Vivekananda's what we call way of life, his preachings gave a new direction to the Indian national movement. There are four major pillars that Swami Vivekananda he put forward. What are the four major pillars? One, Swami Vivekananda advocates that Indians we should take what we call pride in the ancient glory. Pride in the ancient glory. India has a great past, great tradition, great religion. He said, we need to awaken our countrymen. Why we need to awaken a countryman? Because it is plagued with social evils, religious evils, oppression of people. We are suppressed in our what we call freedom. So we need to awaken to fight those evils. And Swami Vivekananda said, development of the moral and physical strength of a person and how it can do only by going through the deeds. And he should prepare himself and unity based on common spiritual ideas. There should be no divisions in people. We should be united. So these are the pillars that Swami Vivekananda fought. So Ramakrishna mission was the main, what we call, when Swami Vivekananda he went to World Parliament of Religions in 1893. The whole world looked at. He started addressing as brothers and sisters. Have you read that about Swami Vivekananda?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so
Sisters
you
and
can
brothers.
see that he attended the Congress of the World History of the World Religions at Paris. He went to London. He took this Vedanta. Vedanta, what he learned is from Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa learned this Vedanta from Swami Brijwananda, who was a blind teacher in Mathura. So it is a Guru Sisya Parampara. And he also was very much convinced that Vedanta is a rational system. So that is why he founds the Belur Mata or Belur Mutt in Calcutta. Okay. So Swami Dayananda Saraswati and Arya Samaj. So Dayananda Saraswati and Arya Samaj, you can see that Dayananda Saraswati is the founder of the Arya Samaj, and he was also one among the first person in India to have a different orientation compared to what we called Brahmo Samaj, because Arya Samaj gave the call to indigenous orientation. What do you mean by indigenous orientation? Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Now.
There's some network issue because I am there in Northeast. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Can
Yes,
you
sir.
okay. You Subhasri? Subhasri able to hear me? Shubram?
Yes, sir. I can see it clearly.
Okay. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, he was the first person in the end. He was also the makers of the modern India who called that we want to have an indigenous orientation. Indigenous means what?
Country origin
Huh?
originated in
Local, sir, local.
homeland.
That means what? Local means what? Swadeshi. Okay.
From where
Swadeshi
we
means
came?
what?
Ah,
From
Swadeshi.
India. From within India. Indigenous.
Yes,
Swadeshi.
yes.
So that means what? He wanted to bring a new social, religious, political order, and that all these will be based on India's ancient past and system. So he established Arya Samaj on 10th April 1875. And you can see that these 1875, there are many reform. There are Muslim reform, there are Brahminical reform, and also secular reforms. Why? Because Indological studies were made after 1857 revolt. Many reform movements started. At the same time, many intelligentsia class also started with pre-Congress ministries. So Swami Dayananda Saraswati, he wrote books called Satyartha Prakash. He wrote books called Satyartha Prakash. He wrote books called, are you able to see me what I'm writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Satyartha Prakash, Vedanga Prakash, Ratnamala, Sankar Vidhi, and 5 is Bharatini Varna. So this Bharatini Varna is a little controversial. Why? It spoke about the caste or existence justification of caste existence. So it is a little controversial. So these were the books written by, and others also he wrote, even Veda Bhasa Bhumika and Veda Bhasya, all in Sanskrit. He wrote. Hello?
Nothing, sir, nothing.
No, I'm not able to get you. Could you repeat it for me?
Someone just came in my room and he left like me. So that's why, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay, okay. So Veda Bhasa Bhumika. So Veda Bhasya and Veda Bhasa Bhumika, these were the books we can see written by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. So Dayananda Saraswati, he had traveled throughout the country and he establishes. So he started this Shuddhi movement or Garvapsi movement. Those people who left Hinduism and joined other religion, he brought them back and he did Shuddhikaran movement and he brought them. So what are the ways Arya Samaj wanted to be in this? So Arya Samaj wanted to reform the Hindu society and religion. It emphasized on liberation of Hindu society. Why it emphasized on liberation of Hindu society? Why?
Because
Why he wanted liberation of Hindu society? Because people were not reading Vedas. So Dayananda Saraswati gave the call to read Vedas, and Vedas are the only repositories. What do you mean by repositories?
records.
True knowledge, bank, repository, bank, true knowledge. So who said Vedas are the repositories of true knowledge?
Swami Dayanand, sir.
Swami Dayananda. And moreover, he said the only religion is the religion of Vedas. Only religion is religion of Vedas. He famously acclaimed. And he also gave the call, go back to Vedas. And he also wanted to create consciousness among people. He said all the scriptures, Hindu Puranas, Gita, Mahabharata, all are bakwas. He said he questioned the authority of scriptures and Puranas. He said only Vedas are true. People should. And he also said that people should recite mantras or chant mantras of Rig Veda. Not only do, people should make havan. What do you mean by havan? What is havan?
Yajna.
Havan and yajna are two different things. Havan, can you see that the Brahmin priest will sit near this and he will chant mantras and he will put some oil or ghee which is to incense sticks. Yes. So he said Havan and yajna
Yes,
should
sir.
be practiced by the people. Okay, so when he was alive, or when his movement, Garvapsi movement, you can see this Dayananda Saraswati's movement. It broke into two. That their groups. One is Gurukula section. It was headed by Swami Shraddhananda. Other section is called college section. That means one who wants indigenous orientation, oriental learning. They said no, we should go back to orthodoxy. The liberal group wanted college section. Liberal group is headed by Lala Rajpat Rai and Lala Hansraj. They established DAV schools. So you can see that in the following slide, Arya Samaj was founded by Dayananda Saraswati in Bombay. Later, his disciples broke. Swami Dayananda Saraswati was the disciple of Swami Brijvananda, who was a blind, and he wrote Satyata Prakash, Vedabhasya Bhumika, Vedabhasya, and it broke into two. One Oriental section who wanted Orthodoxy, Gurukulam. One is a liberal group, like they wanted DAV, Dayanand Anglo Vedic Schools. So Arya Samaj had principles. What are the principles Arya Samaj had? Arya Samaj said Vedas are the only source of truth, or Vedas are the only source of truth, and they should be accepted as the absolute authority. They opposed ideal worship. Who opposed idol worship? Arya Samaj.
Arya
Second,
Samaj.
they also opposed God incarnation. What is this God incarnation? That Lord Rama is the incarnation of Sri Krishna. Yes or no? There's a theory.
Yes, sir. Lord Vishnu. Yes, sir.
Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu. So they all opposed this. They said it's all bakwas. And they also said, don't go to Kasi, don't go to Rameshwaram. They opposed pilgrimages. What do you mean by pilgrimages?
Visiting holy sites.
Visiting holy site. They said no need to go to holy sites. And moreover, they also said you should practice mantras. You should perform mantras. You practice reciting. You should do havan. You should practice and what we call perform yagna. You practice yagna. And they also said we should stand for the welfare of mankind. There should be general equality, education of women, female education or women education. The principles, women education, and they opposed child marriage. They opposed the polygamy. And they said, love everybody. You have to do charity, irrespective of any religion, do charity towards all. So these were what is the significance of Arya Samaj? So Arya Samaj gave self-respect and self-confidence to the Indian people. It helped them to say that only the British are superior and Western culture superior, but his call to the people gave a new dimension. That is why he gave this indigenous orientation. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yes.
So who were the successors of Swami what is that? The Arya Samaj. Who were the successors? Successors were Lala Hansraj, Lala Rajpat Rai, Swami Brijwananda, and Pandit Gurudat or Gurudat Pandit. So, what were the principles? What are the programs of Arya Samaj? It created a sense of pride among them. They did Shuddhikaran, reconversion. They worked against sati, worked against child marriage. Gurukuls were open to spread the knowledge of Vedas. And Arya Samaj broke into two. Liberal group, DAV, Dayananda Anglo-Vedic College, and this they relocated this from Bombay to Lahore. Lala Rajpat Rai, Lala Hansraj were the major people who took. And in the Orthodoxy group, we were Swami Shraddhananda and was Lala Munshiram. They opened this university, Gurukulam, which became university in Haridwar. They became Orthodox group. So what is the crux of Arya Samaj? No caste system, no dowry, no idol worship, no child marriage, no parda system, no polygamy, education of women, gender equality, widow remarriage. So these were the idols of the Arya Samaj. So Dayananda Saraswati, as you know that he was born in Gujarat in the state. So he was called Mool Shankar. That is why he wrote one book called Shankar Vidhi. Have you seen?
Yes, sir.
Oh, his original name was Mool Shankar. So he
Mool
wrote
Shankar.
Vedabhasya Bhumika, Shankar Vidhi, and other books. So he gave the call to go back to Vedas, and he said Vedas are the only source of truth, and the only what? It is the only religion in the world is religion of Vedas. So his disciple, he was a disciple of Swami, blind teacher, Vrijwananda of Mathura, who taught him Vedanta. This Vedanta he teaches to his pupils, particularly Swami, what he called Vivekananda. And Vivekananda takes it all over the world. Can you see that? From Swami Vijayananda, you go to whom? Dayananda Saraswati. And even Dayananda Saraswati gives to whom? Vedanta. Who speaks about Vedanta all over the world? Who speaks about all of Swami Vivekananda also speaks. Swami Vivekananda is a disciple of Swami, whom which Swami? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was